breaking news, our first look at the mugshot of the man targeted by Denver police when they injured 6 bystanders in a shooting. What's next for the man in the middle?
It was just coming too fast. It was getting bigger and bigger and closer and closer.
New details about the western wildfires that exploded during extreme heat this weekend. And Colorado home prices are soaring because of scarcity and high interest rates, where thousands of homes are under construction in the metro to help reduce the heat on Colorado's housing. Thanks for joining us on Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Micah Smith. Off the top, the Denver District Attorney just released the intake photo of Jordan Wadi, the man that Denver officers say flashed a gun at them last Sunday, prompting a police shooting that resulted in officers hurting 6 bystanders. Wadi was also hurt. It appears he's wearing hospital scrubs in this new photo. He's in the downtown detention center awaiting a hearing set for tomorrow morning. Wadi is facing charges for menacing and violating his parole by allegedly having a gun, although police said last week there's no evidence he fired a shot. Also new at 11, Broomfield police say officers took a juvenile into custody after they found a man dead in an apartment near 120th and Main Street. Police were called to the Academy Place apartments for what they call a disturbance and found the victim. It's not clear how or why they connected the juvenile to this death. We have a crew on the scene trying to learn more about what happened. Inglewood police shot and killed a 22-year-old man they say shot at them first. It happened in a neighborhood off South Grove Street. No officers were hurt. The officers who opened fire are on leave. Also new, Commerce City police say the people behind a deadly shooting overnight drove away in a truck that looked like this one. It's a 2002 maroon Chevy Silverado. It had a Colorado license plate APH-T32. There were 3 suspects inside and the truck left from the scene at Layden Street. We're working to learn more today about Boulder County officials finding a body on a trail yesterday morning. This was near the Realization Point trailhead on Flagstaff Mountain. Police have not yet confirmed the cause of death or the identity of the victim. Developing now, there's a state of emergency near Yosemite as a new wildfire is burning out of control, forcing thousands of people to evacuate. ABC's Rena Roy has the new details.
Fast-moving flames moving through Mariposa County, California. This relentless wildfire threatening 2,000 structures near Yosemite National Park. ABC's Alex Brachet is on the ground there.
Well, and I see these bulldozers behind us. It looks like they're clearing space.
This is the beginning of that fire break that they're starting to put in. So they're trying to remove that flammable material so when the fire backs up to it, that the fire goes out.
Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency. About 3,800 people evacuated.
It was just coming too fast. It was getting bigger and bigger and closer and closer.
Fear along the evacuation route as smoke and haze filled the sky.
When I looked up, it was just pluming up over.
When they tell you to leave, leave. Stubbornness is the worst thing, and if it doesn't kill you, it's going to kill somebody else.
The Oak Fire being fueled by a lack of rain in California. Almost 60% of the state is in the second highest level of drought, and the fire itself in the highest level. This is the 3rd wildfire to burn in Mariposa County over the last 2 weeks. And over the weekend across the country, more than 90 million Americans under heat advisories from Texas to Maine. In Boston, the mayor declaring a heat emergency still in effect today.
As I'm sitting here sweating, sweat's pouring down.
Newark, New Jersey is setting a new record, hitting 100 degrees 5 days in a row.
The peak of the heat has now hit the Northeast, multiple cities seeing record high temperatures on Sunday. The region will soon be seeing a bit of relief along with much of the country over the next day or two. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Tonight, the town of Superior will talk about changing building codes to reduce fire risk in the Sagamore neighborhood. The Marshall Fire destroyed all 171 homes in that subdivision nearly 7 months ago. The new standards focus on non-combustible building materials. Windows would have to be tempered or constructed with multi-layer glass. Vents would need a mesh covering to prevent flames or embers from getting inside. Outside, there would need to be a 5-foot zone around the house with no trees or shrubs. Fences would also have to be non-combustible. Starting today, Marshall Fire victims can meet with what Boulder County calls recovery navigators. It's a free service offering short or long-term support to help residents recover and rebuild. It includes referrals to legal help, financial resources, and mental health services. Individuals and families will be assigned a navigator to work with one-on-one. If your plans include driving in the high country, we have some good news. Highway 125 in Grand County just reopened after a mudslide closed it this weekend. The slide happened where the East Troublesome Fire was in 2020. CDOT shared these pictures showing the burned trees surrounding the slide. The rain we saw yesterday means more flood cleanup for people living in Buckhorn Canyon in Larimer County. They say floods have unfortunately become part of their everyday life beneath the Cameron Peak fire burn scar.
It's got a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. You're much less likely to have another fire in a burn scar, which is a good thing, but you're also a lot more likely to have a flash flood, which is very bad.
So it's not something to take very lightly. We all take it very seriously.
Floods yesterday caused more damage to a structure that was already damaged by last week's floods. If you live, work, or drive through Aurora, you're likely seeing a lot of construction. Last year, Aurora issued permits for $1.9 billion in construction activity. This year, by May, the city had issued over $624 million in construction projects.
Throughout the pandemic, we have seen very strong development activity across the city. And so that is both in new areas of the city where we haven't had development before. So a lot of that's out in the area south of the airport, between I-70 and the airport. We have a couple of large master plan communities going on out there. That includes Painted Prairie, which is the 1 square mile just south of the Gaylord out there.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Painted Prairie. It's a 4,200 planned unit community. 10% are built. There's also Aurora Highlands, 360 units under construction. More than 12,000 more units planned. And High Point, 2,700 units planned, 700 are built. That's just 3 of the 14 planned areas of housing, retail space, and commercial space. Even the Gaylord already planning a 20% expansion. City officials say Aurora is a great place to live and a great place to work, and they're excited about the strong economic development activity. The new housing will help people trying to buy homes, but cities across Colorado are looking for more immediate solutions to the housing crunch. Boulder County is offering landlords a bonus of $2,500 for offering space to the homeless. Fort Collins is asking people to take a survey on housing this week. It asks about creating a rental license program and expanding the current occupancy limits. And Denver is considering a plan to give people in shelters $1,000 a month to help them find stable housing. The Biden administration is weighing whether to declare monkeypox a public health emergency after the World Health Organization sounded the alarm over the weekend. There are more than 2,800 cases in the U.S., but health officials believe that number is likely higher. ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest.
Monkeypox, now a global health emergency. The World Health Organization declaring the disease of international concern as cases surge in at least 75 countries.
There are many ways to get monkeypox via close interactions with people that are not intimate.
It's a stark warning for the U.S. to quickly contain the outbreak as the nation closes in on 3,000 cases, 2 of them children, whose cases traced back to men who have sex with men, suggesting household transmission. Will Hutchison was diagnosed with monkeypox 2 weeks ago.
I got chills, I had a lot of aches, and I also had a super low-grade fever.
Along with those symptoms, blisters can also appear on the face, inside the mouth, and on other parts of the body.
Not only do they look very scary, but they're very painful too.
Most of the cases so far have primarily been seen in men who have sex with men, but health officials stress anyone is at risk of exposure through close contact. The CDC warning that transmission can also occur through contaminated clothing and bedding. Now the Biden administration is discussing whether to declare an emergency in the U.S. Dr. Ashish Jha on CBS's Face the Nation.
We have ramped up vaccinations, ramped up treatments, ramped up testing, and we're going to continue to look at all sort of policy options.
The White House has already ordered 5 million doses of the monkeypox vaccine, and they expect to have 7 million doses by mid-2023. But some officials say they still don't have enough vaccines to meet demand.
My expectation is that in the days and weeks ahead, we're going to be able to get more and more data from states, and that will help us understand the national picture a bit more in a bit more detail.
The monkeypox outbreak is the 7th event declared a global public health emergency by the WHO in the last decade and a half. Emwin, ABC News, Washington.
Still ahead, a part of Colorado history that often goes unnoticed.
That's why we did this exhibit, is because there's so many beautiful stories of these humans living in community together and thriving.
I'll share a different look at the 5 Points neighborhood's diverse past. Plus, almost every one of the cars on Colorado's roads are contributing to our pollution problem. How Denver could expand access to EV charging stations tonight.